All right, welcome to the Clear Minds podcast. I'm here with my friend Nicholas.
Hello.
Nicholas,
Nice to meet you. I've never seen you before.
nice to
I
meet you,
love your
Nicholas.
face.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, Nicholas, this is gonna be really interesting. Nicholas, how old are you now?
I'm 21.
21, and
Yeah.
decided to get sober. So yeah, this is gonna be really interesting, and yeah, let's get into it. So basically, we'll start off just with your story. What was your relationship with substances, like life before you got sober?
All right. Well, I was an alcoholic, or I am an alcoholic. So I was constantly drinking alcohol and smoking weed. Those are my two things.
Mhm.
And I started when I was just getting out of high school. So I was like 17, about to turn 18. Just got out of high school, and my high school experience was like very academically inclined. Like it was very, very much, always a lot of pressure, right? A lot of pressure. And so I didn't know how to parse through basically leaving high school, not doing as well as I thought I would, and then going into college and seeing everyone around me doing so well, doing these crazy big things like being valedictorian of their class, and then going on to these great schools and being like, I'm stuck at FAU, and I don't even think I'm gonna do well at FAU. And so I just started clubbing with my friends because I was like, why not? It's something to get my mind off of it. And we would go have drinks, and then I would come home and just keep drinking. And I'd be like, why are you drinking? Like, why are you stopping? There's no point to stop. Why are you stopping? And it just continued like that. I was going clubbing all the time, and then I realized, wait, there's a liquor store by me. I can just go and buy some. What am I doing going to the club when I can just stay home? And so started drinking at home, watching Family Guy all the time. And then when school started in the fall, I was like, why am I even trying to go to class? I could just stay home and drink. That sounds like a life of luxury. And so I just started staying home instead of going to class. Um, didn't do well at all my first semester. So I was like, wait, maybe I'll just do classes online. That's the smarter thing to do. I'll do classes online, then I can just join the Zoom call and I'll definitely do well. Didn't work because I didn't even join the Zoom call. Did like literally almost a year and a half at FAU, never ever passing a class. I don't think I got a single credit from FAU actually. Just constantly drinking. Before they were like, you can't keep doing this. Like we're gonna academically expel you. And I got academically expelled, and just 2 months later, I was out with my friends, or actually, I was supposed to be out with my friends. I didn't show up, sleeping on the couch drunk all the time. So I was sleeping on the couch drunk. My friend came down from like Jupiter or north of Jupiter, so she traveled over an hour to get here. She was like, why aren't you answering me? She knocked on the door. She came, found me passed out. She was like, I'm gonna come back tomorrow. Don't do this. She came back tomorrow. I was passed out on the couch. So she told my mom, which is the right thing to do. She told my mom. She had a conversation with her. They were like, we need to get you into rehab. I was really, really, really against it because I was like, I can handle it myself. I don't want to go to rehab. I didn't know what rehab was. I just thought it was like I've heard of my friends getting Baker acted before, so I just thought it was similar to that. It's not similar to that at all because the first rehab I ended up going to was actually like a mental hospital. It wasn't a rehab at all. It wasn't for addicts, and they just put me there for a week. My mom's idea behind it was she was like, I don't want you being near people that are detoxing from hard drugs, so I think this will be better for you. Well, I was there for a week. It was literally just like it was literally just a Baker Act. And so I didn't learn anything about alcoholism. I didn't learn anything about how to manage it. I got out of it being like, I'm fine. I will never drink again. And then 2 days later, I was like, I think I could handle this. I could probably drink, and I don't think anyone will know. And within like 5 days, I had gotten another big handle of Skull vodka. It's like $10 for a 1.75 liters. It's so cheap. And I would drink it so disgustingly. But I did that, and they literally found out within like 30 minutes. Like
Mhm.
my cover was blown. It was never ever going to be a secret because you can't keep it a secret.
Mhm.
It's not easy to keep a secret. So then I actually went to a real rehab, and I was in rehab for literally for like I think 5 months, which was great because most people they go to rehab for 30 days, or sometimes they just detox. But most people go to rehab for 30 days. They don't necessarily do residential and then PHP, or yeah, residential and then
PHP.
PHP. Okay, yeah. But I did the 30-day first one, the PHP, the IOP, and then IOP they actually let me stay for 3 months instead of 30 days. And it basically is good to stay as long as you can because it puts more time between you and the substance. It's like mandatory sober time that you don't know if you would have been able to achieve without that. So it just gives you better chances. And it's just like, it also, being immersed in the AA culture is so crazy because you really do internalize those thoughts. And without seeing it all the time, every single day, it's easy to forget them, which is also why they tell you to go every day to AA. But like, I think it was really good for me to be in rehab like that.
Yeah, wow. And you said you did like 5 months altogether.
Yeah, literally 5 months of
Wow.
rehab. But it was really good. I liked it. I liked it. I mean, it got annoying, but it definitely was good for me.
Yeah, and there's a difference of like you said, coming out the first time and thinking I got this and not knowing about that,
Yeah,
then the second time of going through something like that and maybe getting an understanding more of it.
exactly. It was not a good idea to just go and detox without any kind of addiction treatment besides that. I was literally just in like a mental hospital type feel. It was just a 7-day detox, and there was a girl there that was actually like an addict, but she wasn't there for addiction. And she was like, you're not supposed to be doing it like this. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I mean, not to be mean, but I think you're going to go out there and drink. And I was like, I'm not going to drink. But she knew that because she had the experience to know there's a lot of reprogramming your mind that comes in with addiction. It's a disease of the mind. So you can't just sustain from a drug. You have to completely change your outlook in order to maintain that. It's crazy.
Um, yeah, so you mentioned like what it was like, after getting sober, or like what was leading up to getting sober, but what was life like before
Oh,
you were.
okay, okay. It was depressing. It was depressing.
Mhm.
It was very strange because for me, I've always dissociated a lot, even as a kid, and drinking and smoking was just a way better outlet for me to do that effectively. I was able to sit in my room for hours and hours, for days at a time, and be absolutely okay with it because I wasn't present enough to realize I'm rotting in my own filth, only getting up to piss, sometimes not even doing that, only getting up to piss and watching Family Guy. And I was okay with it because I wasn't present. I wasn't actually actively realizing that was what was happening. If I had gotten sober even for an hour, I would start getting so, so, so depressed. Like, what am I doing with my life? The only solution here is for me to drink so that I don't feel like this again. But it's like, it's not even it's like the most temporary, not even band-aid. It's like shoving dirt in your wound thinking it's going to make you feel better. Like, I had to get off my ass in order to achieve something. And I was just constantly, I don't know, rotting is just the best term. I was just rotting, and I didn't see anything wrong with it. In fact, I enjoyed it so much. I was like, I love doing nothing. But it's because I was too scared to actually I was too scared to actually experience the world for what it was. And for me, that's what addiction always was. It was just a way for me to hide myself because I wasn't really doing it in the presence of other people. I was doing it in my room with the door closed. So it was, but there definitely was like a shame factor. Um, but yeah, my life before it was extremely uneventful. That's actually all I would do, just sit in my room. So sad.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
and I know exactly what you mean. When that one is over, those feelings starting to come up, and then you're like, oh, the only way to fix this is
Exactly,
by another one.
exactly.
So at what moment did you realize you needed to make a change? Was it when you mentioned that when you were on the couch and your friend came from Jupiter and woke you up and
No, that was not the moment. In
okay,
fact, I thought I still had it way under control. I was like, she only found out because I was sleeping. If I was awake and drunk, she wouldn't have known. She only knew because I was sleeping. And the bottle was right next to me, and there was another bottle under my pillow. That's the only reason she knew. But so those after that first like 7 day stint, I was like, I got this under control. It's fine. They're not gonna know. And then when I decided to drink again, I actually started drinking. I went rollerblading out with my friends. Obviously, drunk rollerblading, not a good idea. I ripped my favorite pants, was falling all over the place, and I'm a good rollerblader, so she was immediately like, "Okay, you're drunk." Like within like 30 minutes of picking me up, she was like, "You're drunk," and I told her, "How dare you accuse this?" I don't even remember this, but I said, "How dare you accuse me of being drunk? I'm on new medications. You know that. You're emotionally battering me right now." Like I actually gaslit her in my drunk state of mind, and then I offered to drive her home. So that is hearing that a few days later because I was still like I didn't we didn't talk for a few days after that. I talked like 2 days to her after 2 days after to her, But hearing that a few days later, I was like, oh my God, that's my best friend that I did that to. And I completely just bold faced lied to her, and then only lied to her to make her feel bad. It wasn't even just like I lied to her to hide myself. I lied to her to make her feel bad. Um, that it was that realizing that plus just realizing this was never going to be able to be a secret. I actually cannot maintain this without other people knowing. And it's good that they know because my life is unmaintainable too. It's unmanageable. That's the word. It's completely unmanageable. So it was realizing I gaslit her, offered to drive her home, and that this wasn't a unique circumstance. This is how I always am when I'm drunk. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I do need to go to rehab. Probably should stop.
Yeah. And when you gaslit her, and you mentioned you didn't remember it, or
I
you
no,
did.
I didn't memorize. I didn't remember it at all. She had to tell me a few days later,
Mhm.
and I knew that I realized I probably did something really bad because she wasn't talking to me, and we never not talk. And I was too embarrassed to be like text her and be like or call her and be like, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry because how do you apologize for something when you don't even know what you did? And so I kind of waited for her to reach out to me, which now because of what I've learned in AA and going through all these recovery circles, I would have just jumped the gun and been like, listen, I'm sorry, but because I am sorry, even though I don't know what I am genuinely sorry. It's not a good apology, but I am. But yeah, it was really, really sad.
What were the feelings like when she told you or reminded you of like what you did when she was
Just
telling you?
shame,
Just shame.
shame. And I've heard so many times like shame is the fuel for addiction because it
Hmm.
keeps you hiding in your little bubble, like in your room watching Family Guy, straight up. But it was just shame. Like I felt ashamed that I got to that point. I felt ashamed that she knew I got to that point. I felt ashamed that I ever felt comfortable enough to treat my friend like that, even though it was in my alcohol addled brain, but I felt ashamed.
Hmm.
And it was like actually disgusting too. It was disgusting. And when I started getting more sober, I started realizing like it wasn't just disgusting like mentally, it was like disgusting physically too. Like I was ashamed afterwards for what I looked like when I was drunk, for probably what I smelled like when I was drunk, because I realized you can smell people. It's like alcohol through their freaking skin.
Hmm.
I was like, I literally was a disgusting person inside and out when I was using. Just gross.
I know, and that was like I think one of my big turning points when I would hear that like what I said or something I've done to like somebody I really care about later on, and it was like I have no recollection of it,
Yeah.
and then and
It's so trippy too because you think like I would never say that.
never say
But
that.
then you also believe them because you're like, well, I don't have recollection and I know that it's alcohol.
Hmm.
I know that it's a drug or whatever it is. Like, but I wouldn't say that to you sober. I don't know. It's like weird to try to put together.
Um, so how did like being so young impact your experience with addiction or substance use?
Ah, that is such an interesting question. Okay, what I can say is that when I read the AA book, I actually haven't read it all the way through, but when I read like the beginning of the AA book, there's this preface in it that talks about like you know how they talk about like for the first edition, the second edition, the third edition, the fourth edition, whatever. One of those prefaces it says something like we had to change the definition of what rock bottom means because
Hmm.
rock bottom for a young person is going to be a lot different than rock bottom for someone who's like established in their entire lives, like someone that has a house, has a life, has a wife, has a family to lose, like kids and stuff. So rock bottom is going to be a lot different. What I can say about being young is that that has been true for me. My rock bottom was a lot different. My rock bottom was failing school and potentially losing my friends, and thank God still having the support of my family. But that was my rock bottom. And I think being young has made it so, thank God, because I caught it so early, I'm able to restart my life so much easier than a lot of people are. I still have the support of my family. I still could go to school if I want to. I probably am. I don't know. I could go to school if I want to. I don't have any legal issues. Thank God. All of these things have made it so that it's way easier for me to jump back into sobriety and be a person past my addiction. And it also makes it too like I remember when I was in rehab, there was this one of the ladies that did the group was always talking about like I'm grateful to be an alcoholic, I'm grateful to be an alcoholic. I didn't understand what she meant because I was like, are you crazy? I don't want to be an alcoholic. That's crazy. But she was saying something like I'm grateful to have caught it. I'm grateful to be in recovery. I'm grateful that I recognize I'm an alcoholic, which is what I realized I am too, because my life could have gotten so worse so fast if I had continued drinking. It could have gone downhill, like much more downhill, so fast. In a few years, I could have been dead. That stuff can actually, it will actually kill you if you continue. So I'm grateful that I caught it so young, because I have these opportunities now that I might not have had. I could have really lost them, could have lost the support of my family. My mom told me to. She was like, if you relapse again, you're getting kicked out. I didn't have any money. I wasn't working. So just, I don't know what I would have done. And also just my health. I'm so happy. I'm so lucky that I'm as healthy as I am, considering how much I was drinking. If I had done that instead of for 2 years or 3 years, if I had instead done that for a decade or 2 decades, it's irreversible.
Yeah, and health is definitely a huge thing. There was a period where I didn't drink for a few years, and then decided to maybe have a drink. It'd be nice. And within like 2 years, I'm in the hospital,
Yeah,
pancreatitis,
yeah,
twice, IVs, just dehydrated, and yeah, health is um, like you said, luckily you caught it at a time where that you haven't dealt with that.
yeah. Also, the one thing I want to say is that when I was in rehab, there was a lot of people that said, I have to get out of here because I have stuff to do. I have to go back to work. I have a wife I need to see. I have kids I need to see. And that's completely understandable. That's like, that makes sense. You have to continue on with your life. Like, your job isn't always going to keep you on hold for it. I didn't have any of that, which made it so much easier for me to spend all of this time in rehab. Made it so much easier for me to be young and still like in this awkward period of my life where like I didn't really have that many responsibilities, because I was able to drop everything and just focus on getting better. And also, like, when you're young, it's easier. I feel like it's a lot easier to like put these things into memory, like not memorialize, but like take in this new mentality, that, like, that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You definitely can, but it takes a lot more. It takes a lot longer, because you have all these experiences that kind of go against what they're teaching you in rehab and what they're teaching you in Alcoholics Anonymous. But I mean, I didn't have that many experiences in life, so it was easier for me. It was like my brain was already wiped clean. So
All right, now we'll talk about like the process of getting sober. What would you say was the most difficult part of getting sober at 20? Did you get sober at 20?
yeah, 20.
Okay.
Most difficult part was the desire to, this is so stupid, the desire to keep drinking.
Hmm.
Literally. It's all I really knew, because even though I only drank for like 2 or 3 years, I dissociated so much through my childhood. All I would do was, like, I had dilapidative daydreams. I would get really deep into these daydreams. I refused to like live in my own skin and live in my own experiences. And so I don't have that many memories of childhood. I don't really know what I experienced, or like what it really was like, except the few things that are ingrained in here. So basically, my whole life has just been like removing myself from an experience, especially when it comes to drinking. I don't even I don't even have an experience. Like, I feel like my biggest memories at that time were literally just getting drunk. I don't really remember anything outside of that. And so I didn't know how to live without alcohol. I didn't know how to live, not just, I guess, without alcohol, definitely, because I was an addict, but also just without removing myself from society in general. And after I stopped drinking and smoking, I didn't really have an excuse to remove myself from society. And so in rehab, I was coming to terms a lot with, like, I actually have to continue my life now. I actually have to do something. Like, I can't just sit in a bed all day. And then I was like, well, if I have to do something and I don't want to do it, should I just kill myself? But that's I realized I realized it's not. I actually do desire a life more than I desire death. I don't actually desire death that much at all. Actually, I was just really scared of getting out there. So suicide was not the answer for me. It was never. I don't think it was ever going to be the answer for me. The answer for me was just fucking do it. Just fucking
Take
do it. Like
action.
Nike, just do it. You just got to do it. Yeah. So that was the hardest part. Hardest part was just coming to terms with, now I have no excuse to not do anything. Can't just rot.
Awesome, man. You're doing it. Did you? So you mentioned like so you went to like the. My next question was like, did you go through a formal recovery of like detox program, or you found your
Yeah,
own
so
path?
I did. Can I use names of
Yeah,
places?
sure.
Okay, I did detox at Boca Recovery, which I really really enjoyed. Some people did not enjoy it as much because of like the accommodations, but I got my own room, so I loved Boca Recovery, and I really liked the people there. Then I did next one is PHP
Hmm.
at I don't know, some place in Singer Island. All I will say is in Singer Island they promised me that we could touch dolphins, like we would be swimming with dolphins and stuff. There were no dolphins, freaking liars. I didn't like that one as much, but again, it's just more about getting time between you and the substance and starting to form a sober community. And then lastly, I did IOP at Actually, I think IOP was Boca Recovery. Whatever. I think IOP was Boca Recovery. That place was not in Boca. They're liars. It was not in Boca. It was on Atlantic. but that place was great too. That place I really liked a lot. It just again like the best thing about these places isn't what they're gonna offer you in terms of like the building and like not even like in terms of prescription medication. It's gonna be the community they offer you. So a lot of times it's like you make really close relationships with the people around, and sometimes they leave because your paths are different, but then more people come in that you get to meet, and you realize, oh my gosh, I really connect with this, and you realize I didn't even think about these things that are happening in my life or happened to me during addiction until you said that. Wow, that's crazy. And it opens up a lot for you. What was the question again?
Did you sorry? Did you go through like a formal program
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like
So
you
I,
said?
I did I did all of it. I did detox, residential, PHP, IOP, and I was an IOP for 3 months. It was great.
Right. Yeah, I myself when I decided to like really do it, I did the same thing, like detox, residential, PHP, and like similar like yours, the detox residential come as white sandy beaches, and it was
Yeah.
it was like a lake in the middle of houses. Like I don't even know if it was a
Wait,
beach.
where are you from? Where did they tell you from?
I'm from Florida, but I did. I went to detox at Banyan in Sebring in
Oh
the
my
middle of
gosh.
Florida, and yeah, it was definitely not like I kind of even forgot what it was even like mentioned in second
Yes.
day in, like why I'm there. But
Yeah, no, that was my favorite part. Just first ever arriving in the detox residential thing. I didn't really have to detox; so it was mostly just residential. But first ever arriving there, seeing people from like Connecticut, from like out like butt fuck nowhere, Kentucky, like random places across the United States, and then being like, "Where's the beach? Where's the beach?" And being like, "We're on Atlantic, bro. Like we're like West Atlantic. I don't know where the beach is, but it's not here."
so during that time, like, how did your friends and family respond when you decided to get sober?
I was super, super, super lucky. Very supportive friends and family. My friends were the ones that were like, this is beyond our control now. You need professional help. They told my parents. My parents, I think what was going on with I have two moms. So one of them, my mom Connie, she's like very in denial about things. And so she was the one giving me all the monetary support and the one like kind of making excuses for me. I don't even think she really realized how much I was drinking. And then my other mom, Barb, she was the one that was like, "You're gonna be kicked out if this happens again." Like she had to lay the law down. So both very different kinds of support. Honestly, I prefer Barb's support over it because she gave me an ultimatum. It really kicked me into gear. Connie was like, what's the term? Like when people help you and they're not supposed to help you.
Enable.
Enable. She was like an enabler, which I'm sorry, I probably name dropped them. I name dropped them. I don't think they're gonna watch this. It's fine. But either way, there was a lot of love coming from them both. They both did what they could. They both did everything that was like, I guess, taught to them as kids as to how to treat their own children. They helped me a lot. My friends helped me a lot. I mean, like, I live in an Oxford house now. I still go to my mom's house every night for dinner, make her dinner, or she makes me dinner. So, um, I mean, I still have a lot of support from them. They help me with finances still. I have a job. They still help me with finances because I don't get paid that much. um, I have a great support system, and my friends are just amazing. Like I have a lot of the friends that I had in high school, but
And like none of them are like, hey, let's go out
no, no,
and
no, no,
okay.
no, no. Most of them don't really. They still kind of go to clubs sometimes, but they don't invite me to the club. They know better than to do that. Don't invite me to the club. Sometimes they don't. Usually don't even mention they're going because they know I'm gonna be like, shit, that sounds so fun. But they don't even mention it to me. They just do what they want to do, and then they always, even if because like one of my friends, Caitlin, she lives in Hobe Sound's like just north of Jupiter. So if she comes down here to club in Hobe Sound, comes down here to club, she won't tell me that, but she will still make time out of her day to see me, to include me. Like I'm still always included in plans like that. So that's fun, very, very supportive. My other friend Emily, who's like my best friend, she lives in Lighthouse Point. She's actually going to AA right now, not because she's an alcoholic, but because she smokes weed and she vapes. Those are like her two addictions, and she genuinely does want to kick it. And she really enjoyed when I told her about AA, so she started going, and so she really liked it. And so she told my other friends, Caitlin and Priscilla, that they should go, and I wasn't just trying to blow smoke up their ass. And so when they're all down here, we all go together. And they're not
Awesome.
addicts or anything, but they truly do get a lot from the program because it teaches you just a lot of it is about relationships and about how to handle yourself around the other people around you. That did not make sense. How to handle yourself around other people. And so you can really pull a lot from it. 12 steps, even if you have nothing to do with addiction.
That's awesome, man, that you're able to get other people, or at least introduce,
Yeah.
something with you going on. What misconceptions did you have about sobriety before actually living it?
I don't even know if I had him. I didn't even think about it.
Hmm.
Literally didn't even think about it. It wasn't something that ever crossed my radar. The only time I think about it, I guess, is because like I'm really into politics, and so I knew that I knew that sobriety was hard because I've heard about people relapsing and stuff, like in terms of like I was like because there's a lot of homeless people in the area, and so I knew that you couldn't just try to be sober on the street. You had to get like actually help. I knew that. I knew that.
Hmm.
But I thought, well, I'm not on the street, so I'm different. Like I don't know if I actually need help. Like I didn't know how to recognize an addiction either. Recognizing an addiction is like something that they really don't teach you unless you're actually going to like meetings or Al-Anon or something, or you're in touch with a professional. You don't really know how to do that. I guess you could look it up online, but I didn't want to recognize my addiction, so I didn't do that. I don't know. There's I don't even know like my biggest misconception. I I think when I first started getting sober too, I didn't realize how much it's not just like a lifestyle change. It's you have to completely change your mentality. Like every single thing that you think is wrong. When I was in rehab, they gave us this book called I don't even know the addiction of something. I don't even know. But they talked about how when you drink a lot or when you use drugs a lot, any kind of using, it completely rewires your frontal lobe. And so all of these decision making processes they're just flawed when you're in active addiction and it takes a while for them to recover. And so I was reading that book when I was like, wow, like my decision making really truly is flawed. Like I can think this is the best decision, this is the best idea for me, but I'm just not right because my frontal lobe is just messed up right now. I have to trust the professionals. And so that was something I realized in recovery. Yeah.
Now we'll discuss like life after sobriety. So how did sobriety change your identity and how you saw yourself?
Dude, I didn't even have an identity when I was drinking. My
Hmm.
identity was drinking.
Hmm.
I feel like probably everyone answers it that way, right? My identity was drinking. That's all I lived to do. That's all I wanted to do. Things that had nothing to do with drinking, I didn't attend, or I brought drinking into them. So I did not have an identity. And also, I just, like I said before, I tried so hard to not think of myself perceiving myself at all was like it literally made me suicidal because I was just so disgusted with myself and I was so disappointed with myself. So I didn't have an identity at all. But now I have friends I can maintain a job. I'm thinking about going back to school. I'm actually truly considering what I want to do in the future, which I didn't even think I had a future. Those are big parts of my identity. I have things I'm genuinely interested in beyond Family Guy. Still like Family Guy, but I'm beyond Family Guy. So those are parts of my identity. But also, I'm still 21, so I'm still figuring it out. Like it's still a learning curve. Yeah.
What do you do now to maintain your sobriety, especially like during times when they get tough?
What I do, and this is for me because it's always gonna be different. It's always gonna be different for everyone. You gotta learn what's good for you. But for me personally, I have to stay involved and I have to keep up with my obligations because my biggest thing when using was doing nothing. So if I have things that I'm responsible for and I'm able to maintain those things, then I know that it's harder for me to slip into. let me just rot in my room all day. And then because I'm rotting in my room all day, well, now I need something to like make myself feel better about it. So I keep up with my responsibilities. I make sure I stay employed. I'm leaving my job, but I have a bunch of interviews lined up. So make sure I stay employed. Continue to go to meetings. I don't really go to as many. I don't go to a meeting every single day. I go about 2 or 3 times a week, but I'm gonna try to go more. I will go more. That's the better phrasing. I will go more. Keep up with my friends because I'm really lucky. I have greatly supportive friends, and they know how to call me out when I do something wrong. Nowadays, that's not as often. That's not as often as it was, but like they know to tell me like, listen, you sound crazy right now, or like, listen, you clearly getting frustrated. I'm like, oh, you're right. I actually am feeling kind of frustrated right now. We chill. So those things, and also just constantly talking to people in recovery. That's the biggest thing. When you don't go to meetings or you don't talk to other people that are in recovery, you forget what it was like to have been in active addiction. And then like because you don't remember like how bad it truly was, you don't remember how important it is for you to keep up with your sobriety. And so I like going to meetings specifically to hear the stories from other people because I, it's not until I hear them talk that I'm like, oh yeah, I did that, or oh yeah, that happened to me, or oh yeah, I felt that way. And so those are the things I'm mostly doing. I have a sponsor, but I don't really talk to him as much as I should either. Which another thing, you should talk to your sponsor. Should do that.
So yeah, like stay active, stay
Yes.
connected,
Yep.
and
Exactly.
for sure. Were there any unexpected benefits to being sober young? I know that you mentioned, now you still have your whole life ahead of you. You can go back to school. You can
Yes.
still you haven't lost.
Unexpected benefits. This is really vain, but I lost a bunch of weight. Lost a bunch of weight. I was like 240 pounds. I lost almost 80 pounds.
That's
So,
awesome.
um, I lost a bunch of weight. That was great. Okay, this, I was throwing up chronically for like literally 2 years. I was throwing up every single day. If I walked around too much, I would throw up. I couldn't, that's part of the reason why I stopped going to class too. I couldn't walk to class. I would throw up and I would faint. It was so disgusting and it was terrible. It was a terrible experience. And I told myself, it has nothing to do with the drinking. It has nothing to do with the drinking. And so I went to like a bunch of doctors. I didn't tell them how much I was drinking. They were like doing all these tests. They were putting tubes in my throat. And then I stopped drinking and it stopped. It stopped. And now I can walk for 30 minutes and not feel like I'm going to faint on the sidewalk, which I actually did do multiple times in school. So that's great.
It's so funny you mentioned that. I was talking to my girlfriend yesterday, and at work I drink like 2 bottles of water fast, and like I almost like threw up a
Mhm.
little bit, and I had a thought in myself. I'm like, wow, it feels good not to throw up every day
Yes,
or
no,
having to
literally,
throw
literally.
up.
I was so used to it, and I didn't care. I wasn't even
Yeah,
like interested in making it stop. I was like, whatever, it comes with the
yeah,
territory.
comes with it.
It's so terrible. It's so terrible.
Do you feel like you missed out on like a typical party phase?
No, I don't
No.
because I was partying. Um, I did actually. You know what? I did turn 21 in rehab, so I never went to bars. That's one thing I didn't do because I didn't have a fake ID. I only went to places that like allowed me to go in at 18. But I don't feel like I missed out on a typical party phase. High school, there was a bunch of house parties. I went to clubs a lot. Also, partying is just not as interesting as people make it out to be. Personally, I enjoy it because I like the music and I like dressing up. Those are the two things I like. I like to dress up and I like to listen to music. There's things that you can do. You can do both of those things in the comfort of your home or out on the beach or wherever without going to a club. But I mean, the club atmosphere, I definitely like romanticized it a lot. I did enjoy it. I don't think I missed out though. I did it. I did plenty of it. I did plenty.
Um, so what's like dating and socializing like when you're sober in your
All right,
20s?
all right, all right. Personally, for me, I'm not dating and I refuse to date, and I've been abstinent for about 4 years, and I plan to continue that. So I'm abstinent. I tell my friends that I think they should be abstinent because I truly do think like you have to figure out your if you're trying to get into like a long term relationship, you have to figure out yourself and be comfortable with all these things that like all these problems that you might have before you can ever get with another person. I'll give you an example. I have a friend right now. She's seeing this guy, and he was all nice. He was all nice, and then he just started being so mean. He was like, "You're fat. You're whatever, whatever," because she refused to sleep with him. And Normally that would have just rolled off her back. She wouldn't have cared. But because she wasn't feeling confident with herself in the first place, that like completely broke her down. And it's because of that that I'm like, I don't want to get into a relationship. One, because I don't know that something like that might happen to me if I'm feeling insecure, and then you can't put all your faith in other people. What if something bad happens? I don't want that to ruin what I've got going for me. But also, I don't really have that much to offer someone else. Straight up, I don't. I mean, I could be a good companion, but I'm still going through kind of not the early stages of recovery, but before a year. I'm still trying to figure all that out. Living in a house with 9 other guys, like, what am I gonna give you? So relationships, I don't know, but companionship in general, friendship is so 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 important. I would be absolutely nowhere without my friends, and I think that a lot of people, they don't have friends when they come out of rehab because they're coming from an area that they don't know about. They don't live in this area, and so I think for them, the best thing to do is immerse yourself in the meetings, because then you can find sober people that are also actively going through recovery that will have a lot of the same interests as you. There's a lot of different age groups, and you know what I mean? There's a lot of different types of people in NA and AA. So definitely friends and a solid community are one of the most important things you can have, not just for addiction, but in life in general. Like I love people in general, and so I'm fine with taking on as many friends as possible. I'm fine with that. Yeah.
I totally agree. If you could talk to your 16-year-old self, what would you say?
Stop smoking weed. Stop it. Stop it. I know it seems fun, not even fun. I know it seems like it's helping. It is not helping anything. It's gonna get so much worse. It's gonna get so much worse. Stop smoking weed. Actually, 16 was about the time I kind of stopped trying so hard. Keep trying in high school, because you you would have done absolutely fine and probably gone to a fine college if you just actually kept it up. Just keep doing what you were doing when you were 12, bro. That's my advice. Just try and don't smoke weed.
What does freedom mean now to you when you're sober?
Freedom? I don't even know, man. Freedom?
What would you
Uh,
say, like, when you're
I mean,
like,
I definitely wasn't free when I was drinking. Freedom? I mean, it's funny because I'm definitely more free now, but then in the moment it's like, well, I gotta go to work and I gotta do this and I have to go clean this, and but it's all these luxuries that I did not have when I was in active addiction. So I'm definitely more free than ever. It's hard to remember that in the moment. Freedom for me now means freedom to watch Family Guy, but no, I'm not gonna be drinking during it. I don't know. That's still like my favorite thing to do. I like watching Family Guy, but I guess to hang out with my friends. Freedom. I don't know. Let me think about that. I don't know.
yeah, it's like I mentioned before, freedom is like being able to, not you have to do something, but you get to do it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, definitely with like the job and stuff, like all these problems now that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is stressing me out. But I didn't even have the opportunity to be stressed out by a job before because I could not maintain one, and I had no desire to be employed. So, the freedom to make money, freedom to have relationships that I know I can maintain, um, the freedom to not be chronically depressed. That's what I got.
And what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about getting sober but feels like they're too young?
Do it. There's no wrong time to be sober. You're really not missing out on that much at all. Whatever you've already done drinking or drugging, I mean, it's not like it's gonna get better. It's not like you're gonna have additionally more fun experiences. They're just gonna get less fun and less fun and less fun until it's too late to actually stop. Like you're either dead or you've lost everything. You know what I mean? So just stop. I mean, that sounds so stupid. You can't just stop, but get help so that you can stop. Just do it. You can't even think about it. You just got to do it. If you think about it too hard, you're going to find excuses to not do it. So just do it. Stop.
Said well. Is there any books or resources anybody like any that helped you or anybody?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's that book that I read in rehab. It was written by the doctor that was whatever. It was like the doctor of the rehab. I don't know. But he wrote it. It's like Minds in Addiction, like Addiction Mind or something. It was really, really short, but it basically just goes over like how it affects your mental, like how it affects your cognitive behavior. I don't even know, like your cognition. So it it was the most impactful thing for me because it made me realize I can't trust myself and my instincts right now that are telling me I just want to go home. I just want to go home because that's your addict brain talking. That's years and years of drinking being like basically grooming your brain to think you can handle this when you really can't. If I find the name of the book, I'll text it to you. But just basically like the things that broke down what addiction actually does to your brain and like science and scientifically, but in layman's terms, so I can actually understand it. That's what made me realize, like, oh shit, this is much bigger than just like bad behavior. It's like something I actually need help for, and I need to continue getting help for. That's what really affected. That's what I really liked. And then also 12 and 12. AA is really big. The AA book is big. It's kind of daunting to read, but 12 and 12 is short. 12 and 12 is short, and it breaks it down, and there's some really cool quotes in there. I like that book.
Awesome. Well, Nick, this has been great. You know, hearing your story, getting to see what you've been through, how you overcame it, and where you're at today.
Thank you.
And the last thing I would say, like, what now, like, goals or do you see yourself in the future? Now that you're sober, what goals do you have?
I this I'm gonna set it for me. This weekend, so today or tomorrow, I'm going to sign up for Broward College so I can do it in the fall. I'm gonna do it. I want to do it. I just am like I just have to keep putting it off, but I'm gonna do it. Um, I have to get my AA still. For what? I don't know, but I have to get it because I know I want to do something that definitely requires schooling. So um, other things are I'm gonna be hopefully getting a job at Publix soon. Excited for that, or some kind of major grocery chain. Aldi's. That sounds fun. Because right now I'm working with the elementary school students, and I told her I'm not gonna continue working with her over the summer, so I have until end of May. End of May, secure a job. Um, my goals right now are just to, I guess, continue doing what I'm doing, get some money saved up, so I don't know, can live my life in the future, get educated so I can live my life in the future, maintain my relations with my family. Yeah, just very, very small goals, but very, very important goals. I don't have anything like big plans.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There it is, man. Being sober at 21.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you.
again, Nick.
Thank you.
Awesome. You're the man. That was awesome.
Really? Thank
What do
you.
you think? All right, now we just gotta flip it this way.
We're gonna make a reel.
Yeah.
You have an Instagram for it?
Not Instagram. I'm gonna put it on TikTok.
Oh, TikTok? Oh, dude. Okay.
I gotta make an Instagram. I don't have one on there.
I like that. I was scared I wasn't actually gonna be able. I was gonna forget too many words to be able to talk, but
No, that was